Joyce, you're going to have to unmute yourself again. Sorry. There you go. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So lovely to see you all and to be gathering for this Erev Seventh Day Pesach and for this Erev Shabbat. Love seeing your smiling faces and to be able to gather in this Shabbat. Yes, we can all twinkle and wave and we can feel the joy of gathering as a community in prayer and in song, and as they like to say, I know that the kids like to do this. I can't ever quite figure out exactly how to make the heart look like a heart, but you can feel the love, right? So you can you can make your hands into that love. And if you don't know how to make your hands into the love, then there's a reaction button someplace, I think in your screen, where you can hit a heart button in the reactions, and you can always just show a heart up in the corner. There you go. Phyllis has the heart. Steve and Jack, put up the heart. So you can feel the love and you can show the love by putting up a heart. Judy's got a heart. Excellent. Okay. We all need to feel some love sometimes, and we need to show some love. So, oh, look at all those hearts going up. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. See how easy it is to love? So, this Shabbat brings us to the end of Pesach. Alas and alack, we still don't have challah. We got to wait till tomorrow night to get that chametz, that bread, back into our systems. But we're going to get to finish off the celebration of Pesach quite soon, as we wrap it up on this Chag Shabbat combined celebration. We're going to get going with indeed celebrating the love, as it were, with Hinei Ma Tov U'Manayim, how good it is, how wonderful, how sweet, how pleasant for us to all be here together. Let's sing Hinei Ma Tov.
Tov, Hinei Ma Tov, la 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 la. Hinei Ma Tov, Hinei Ma Tov, la 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 la. Hinei Ma Tov U'Manayim, Shevet Ahim Gam Yachad. Hinei Ma Tov U'Manayim, Shevet Ahim Gam Yachad.
And like that deer that leaps to stand in awe before the Holy One of Blessing, so do we leap with joy, with delight. Yadid Nefesh, let us sing as we welcome Shabbat. Well, a shout out to our friends on Facebook, who I appreciate their Shabbat Shalom greetings, and Though I can't see you directly, I see you the way Mr. Rogers saw all of his viewers looking right at you, looking at me. So I wish you a Shabbat Shalom as well. And so nice for us to indeed be together. We are in this very unique period of time from Pesach to Shavuot. And between Pesach and Shavuot, we refer to these 7 weeks as the Omer. Omer literally means a sheaf, so it is an agricultural reference of the harvest, and the Pesach is a celebration agriculturally of the harvest of the winter wheat that grew through the winter. Shavuot becomes a celebration of the harvest of the spring wheat which grows during the springtime. From Pesach to Shavuot, we count 7 weeks of 7 days, or 7 times 7 being, you can do the math. Let me see some lips move someplace. 49, thank you. Okay, 49 days. The day after 49, the 50th day being the celebration of Shavuot. And so it is our tradition to count each of these days. We refer to it as the counting of the Omer. So tonight we are on the 6th day of the Omer, beginning the 6th day of the Omer. I encourage you to count each day of the Omer. And if you don't, at least on Shabbat, when you come and gather with us, we'll count each of the weeks, 6, 13, 20, etc., to getting us all the way to Shavuot, when we celebrate religiously the gift of Torah and the coming into relationship with God at Mount Sinai. So at the top of the screen, actually, let's start in the middle of the screen, then we'll go to the top of the screen. Do not recall what happened before. Do not dwell on the past. I am about to do something new. It shall flourish. You will see, I will forge a path through the desert, and rivers shall flow in the wilderness. And from Marion Woodman, from her book Bone, Dying into Life, what I learned is the difference between destiny and fate. We are all fated to die. Destiny is the recognizing the radiance of the soul that even when faced with human impossibility, loves all of life. Fate is the death we owe to nature. Destiny is the life we owe to soul. So I invite you to join with me in the blessing that we say over the counting of the Omer, Al Spirat Omer. So we say together, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al spirat haomer, which means, praise be you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, instilling within us the holiness of mitzvot by commanding us to count the Omer. Hayom Shisha Yamim LaOmer. Today is the 6th day of the Omer. I believe, Marlise Meckler, you are our designated reader tonight before our candle lighting to help lead us. So if we can get to Marlise, here we go, and ask you to unmute yourself. There we go.
Thank you, Rabbi. As we light our Shabbat candles, shining the light of the holy, awakening the spark of the divine that is within each of us, joined by a second soul, a second light, a second life, for these next 24 hours, we discover a great insight. In the glowing lights of Shabbat, we glimpse the possibility of a future where we actually make a life for one another, because the only life worth living is the one worth sharing. Or as George Eliot said best, what do we live for, if not to make life less difficult for each other?
Thank you, Marlise. And as we light our Shabbat and Yom Tov candles, because this is a combination Chag and festival, then tonight our blessing is Shel Shabbat Shel Yom Tov. Let me get back to it. There we go. V'lahadlik ner Shel Shabbat v'Shel Yom Tov. Joyce?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat v'Shel Yom Tov.
And now lifting up your wine, if you have wine or grape juice to say Kiddush, or you can lift it up with your hearts and your imaginations as we say together, looking at these beautiful grapes. We bless the fruit of the vine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'vratzon inchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila l'mikrorei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidasha mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava u'vratzon inchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Chaim. Continue with song of welcome as we welcome the bride, the beloved, as we greet Shabbat.
Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela La 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 lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dirbu echad Hishmi'anu el ha'miyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'Shem tiferet v'li'hala la 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 L'cha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela L'cha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechul v'nelcha Ki mekor ha'bracha Berosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshavot tehi La 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 dodi Likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela L'cha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom ateret b'hala Gam b'simcha uv'tola Tokemonei am segula Boi hala L'cha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela L'cha dodi likrat kala Pnei
Having bid Shabbat, that invitation to come, to enter, to be welcomed, now we say Shalom Aleichem, welcome unto you, O Shabbat. Come in peace, be blessed and bless us. May you be blessed in peace. And when it is time to leave, when Shabbat is over, may you leave Seifem in peace as well.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Chamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Chamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Chamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachim l'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Chamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachim l'Shalom, Malachi l'Shalom, Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Chamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Chamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Chamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedkem Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Chamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedkem Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Chamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Continuing now with Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadav, Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yama Divra Hirite V'Yamlik Malhute B'chayechon Uv'yomechon Uv'chayedacho Beit Israel Bagala Bagala Uvizman Kariv Ve'imru
Amen.
Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarak Le'alam Olam Me'almaya Yitbarach Yitbarak V'yishtagbach V'yitba'ar V'yitroman V'yitnase V'yithadar V'yithalel V'yithalal Shemei Dekusha B'rihu Leilamim kol birchata v'shirchata Tuv shvechata v'nechemata Damin ram be'alma V'yimru Amen. Lie, 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 lie.
Let's read together the Mariv Aravim, and let's read through the English interpretive version. In awe of creation, you are blessed, Adonai, the one whose word brings on the evening. With wisdom and understanding, the elegance of creation unfolds each day. Unfailingly, day follows night, the majesty of dawn, a new wonder to behold. Our mouths are filled with praise for the one who brings on the evening, for we have faith and trust that the light of day will also be recreated in the morning. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
So here we are on the seventh day, Erev seventh day of Pesach, and I'm quite fond of this little bit of wisdom here, of advice from lightning, or a lightning, to stay current and follow the flash of inspiration. I think that the Israelites, when they were heading out of Egypt, which of course happened on last week, the beginning of Pesach. And by now, we have to have imagined that they're already through the miracle at the sea, that they got through the currents, a different kind of current than lightning. They got through the water currents, unlike that boat that got stuck in the Suez Canal. And they are on to perhaps be following the flash of inspiration. They are sparking new ideas or getting ready to. They're certainly striking out on their own. I'm not sure that they're quite ready to light up the night, though. They've been through a great darkness. In fact, they've been through perhaps hundreds of years of darkness, not just the plague of darkness that preceded their knowing that it was time to bolt, time to get out. But do they know how to charge ahead? You know, sometimes that moment of fleeing from what was and being attracted to what can be, one can get just a little bit stuck in that place where we know there is great possibility ahead, and yet it is a little bit hard to leave what you're used to. And on the seventh day of Pesach, I think that there is an essential truth in that experience. We've relived the moment of the Exodus, but we're not quite ready to let it go. I know, we're all a little tired of matzah, and that we're ready to let go of. But we're not quite ready to let go of that experience, that wonder, that awesomeness of freedom, that flash that comes with that first step out of slavery and into redemption. And yet we're holding on to, because we're not quite sure we are quite ready to launch yet into the wilderness, which has its own fears and has its own challenges ahead. And so our tradition gives us, each time we gather in prayer, this prayer that we're about to sing. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. A prayer that comes from the song at the sea, the song of Miriam, the song of Moses, the song that says, on the one hand, who is like you amongst all those deities, all those gods that are worshipped amongst all the peoples of the earth? Norah Tehilot. God, you are awesome and worthy of praise, of prayer. Oseh Felah, doing wonders. And yet it's almost like we have to remind ourselves, Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed. God, you will reign forever and ever. We keep telling ourselves that so that we can make it so. Mi chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Norah tehilot, oseh בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. נורות עושה, נורות עושה, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
And so setting out into that wilderness that is filled sometimes with fear, we turn to God and ask God in the darkness of the night that falls to spread over us, oh God, we ask a shelter of peace. Guide us and save us and shield us from all that brings pain in our lives.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim.
So I want to see a show of hands. How many people were at a Passover Seder this year in which you sang the song Dayenu? Who sang Dayenu? Excellent. Okay. How many of you sang the three verses, Ilu Hotzi Hotzianu Mimitzrayim, Natan Lanu et Shabbat, and Natan Lanu et Torah, the three verses of Dayenu? Okay. About half of you. So some of you sang Dayenu, it would have been enough. Some of you sang, it would have been enough if you got us out of Egypt. Some of you sang, it would have been enough if you had only given us Shabbat. And some of you sang, it would have been enough if you had only given us Torah. right? Okay. Now, have you ever stopped and thought about that song? Would it really have only been enough? Would it really have only been enough if we just got out of Egypt and that was it? Would it really have only been enough, Dayenu, if we got out of Egypt and that was the end of the road? Boom, you're out of Egypt, you're across the Red Sea. Have a nice life, guys. You're on your own now. No map, no compass. Find your own way through the wilderness. See you in another few hundred years. I did my part. Or, okay, you got us out of Egypt. Would it have been enough if God had just given us Shabbat? Okay, that's nice. Shabbat's pretty good. I like Shabbat. You like Shabbat. Would that have been sufficient? And then we stop with Torah because that's where the song ends. Of course, the whole Dayenu is like 25 verses long. There's a whole lot more stuff in there that we actually thank God for and say it would have been enough. Go look in a traditional Haggadah and you'll get all the verses of Dayenu about all the things that we say. Well, there's also this and there's also that. But I always wondered why the order of getting out of Egypt and then Shabbat and then Torah. I'll confess to you, I sometimes have trouble remembering which one comes first, Torah or Shabbat. Because when I'm trying to think of singing the song, it always seems to me more natural that God should have given us Torah first and then Shabbat. Because after all, isn't it after God gives us the revelation on Sinai and the whole tablet thing and the 10 Commandments, which has Shabbat written into the 10 Commandments, that then we get Shabbat. And so we would have needed to have gotten Torah first before we knew what Shabbat was. And that's how it all would have unfolded. And of course, the obvious answer to that is what no rabbi, we got Shabbat first because that goes back to creation. Remember, 7 days, 6 days God worked, 7th day God rested from creation. And then we would say, okay, well, that makes sense. Maybe then Shabbat came before Torah, but then you got Hotzianu Mitzrayim. Thank you, God, for getting us out of Egypt. That would have been enough. And that goes first. And that comes between Shabbat and Torah. And now the whole thing is messed up again. So we're really stuck in kind of a conundrum. So what's it really all about? So my resolution, I don't know what your resolution is. You can come up with your own midrash on it, I suppose, because we all come up with our own midrashim on these things, right? Every rabbi and every Jew has 3 opinions on it. But my thought is this, that getting out of Egypt, getting out of slavery, Ilu Hotzianu Mitzrayim, if you had just gotten us out of Egypt, it would have been enough. Now, freedom is the first step. Getting out of slavery and tasting freedom, that's the initial thing we need to live life. We need to live and taste and understand that as human beings, we can live free. What's going on over here, Joyce and Nina? And we live free, right? We need that freedom. But then comes time. And if we don't understand that there is a difference between everyday time and sacred time, if we don't understand that all days are not the same, we have no hope of really learning how to enjoy our freedom. Because what does freedom mean if every day is the same? Now, however you define the sacredness of time and however you mark the sacredness of time, well, that's a whole nother discussion for another time. But we know what happens when every day monotonously becomes like every other day, day after day after day. right? We're not meant to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We're not meant to be devoted to one activity only. We're meant to have variety. We're meant to spend time with people. We're supposed to spend time with friends and family. We're supposed to spend time being generative and being recuperative. We're meant to spend time fulfilling and refreshing ourselves and our souls. And we're supposed to spend time helping to refresh and fulfill others. We're supposed to give and we're supposed to receive. And we can't do it all by only doing one thing all the time. So we must differentiate somehow time. And when we do that, when we understand that time has both sacred and not yet sacred components to it, then and only then can we be ready for Torah. Because if we get Torah first and we don't understand about the sanctity of time, then we won't know what to do with Torah. And so we can only get the gift of Torah when we understand what it means to count 7 weeks of 7 days, 7 cycles of 7 Shabbatot, 7 opportunities to differentiate time and to experience the sacred intermingled with the everyday, and the opportunity to turn the not yet sacred into the holy. V'shamru, b'nei Yisrael, the people of Israel shall keep the Shabbat.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Bini uvin b'nei Israel oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat va'inafash, shavat va'inafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. One more time. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
As we move into our tefillah, just a reminder that although Pesach feels like spring, it actually marks liturgically the beginning of summer. And so when we get to the Givurot, we are no longer inserting Mashiva Ruach or Morid HaGashem, but we now switch to Morid Hatal. You'll see it on the screen. Just don't be on autopilot.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מקהלך כל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד אתה. מקלקל חיים בחסד, מקיים הכל ברחמים רבים, סומק נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מהלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מקיים הכל. אתה קדוש ושירה קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום והיללה סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Thank you for we are not alone. Each one of our imperfect lives reveals an irreplaceable piece of a holy world. On this Erev seventh day of Pesach, as we come to the conclusion of our celebrations of having come Mitzrayim, out of the narrow places, let us share our own gratitudes. This is not going to be an in the chat box sharing, so don't get your fingers ready to type. Rather, I would like to ask you, out of what narrow places have you emerged this year, and what gratitude do you offer? And I have just changed the setting so that you have the possibility to unmute yourself. So if you feel so moved and so inclined, then I would invite you to unmute yourself and share your response to that question. Out of what narrow places have you emerged this year, and what gratitude do you offer? And I would ask that you keep your response to about a sentence.
I'll go.
Go ahead, Robin. Thank you.
So I have emerged from a year of hibernation. After getting vaccinated, it feels like stepping back into the world. And I'm grateful because that's enabled me to come to Nashville and visit my daughter, who I've only seen up until now once in the last year.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. Marlies?
I've been depressed because my husband's been in assisted living for the last 5 years. It's been a difficult year, especially for him. But I have gratitude that we all came out of this COVID business okay, and that we have family, and I'm feeling better about it now.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Definitely out of a narrow place and into a place of gratitude. Jackie, go ahead.
Yes, well, I got the second vaccination, and it meant that I was able to spend a Passover Seder with some very dear friends. And I truly appreciated not eating alone in my house for the
Lovely.
Seder.
Lovely. The narrow place of solitude into
The narrow place was my home.
yeah. Nice. Thank you, Jackie.
I'm just going to say, Irv and I were very happy and a lot of gratitude that we're able to get our second COVID shot after a lot of struggle getting it. And we're just concerned about going out and maybe seeing some friends. If we were fortunate, we got a fluff ball to keep us busy. So we've been very busy with our 7-month-old Labradoodle puppy, but she's sweet and full of fun and gives us a lot of company and entertainment. So, and I know Audrey Greenberg has a Labradoodle too, and we're supposed to have a play date sometime. I can't wait.
Nice. Nice. Thank you. That's another way. That's another way out of that that narrow place is through expanding our family's bounds.
This is going to sound, can you hear me?
Yes, we can,
Yes.
Ann.
Okay. It's going to sound kind of, well, I don't know, different, but I am thankful for Zoom because we have not been able to see our children or our grandchildren or our great-grandchildren. However, every Shabbat, we meet with them online and we light the candles, we bless the wine, we do the motzi, and that's the way we get together. And then the next day we FaceTime with the kids in Texas. And so and also because Zoom during the week provides a lot of academic stimulation for us. And so and both of us have health issues. So we would not be able to be traveling too much anyway. And I hope we're going to continue our Zoom services, Rabbi, because driving at night is no longer an option for us. And I hope that the temple continues to have Zoom services.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. It's not, that's why the best way to talk about coming out of the narrow place is that it's a direction forward and not a way back. We don't go back to what was, we go forward to what we created new. So nice. Thank you so much, Ann. Anyone else like to share?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Bonnie.
I'm grateful that after receiving my second COVID vaccine, and my mother is about to retire after having treated COVID patients, that hopefully she'll be able to visit us soon, since we haven't been able to see her in over a year now.
Nice, nice. So much narrowness in that experience of separation. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, Naomi, Ron. You're still muted.
I got it.
There you go.
I feel relieved to, more than the past year, but especially the past year, to be able to turn on the television once in a while and see hope again and feel hope again. That we came from a very scary place and we have a lot of work to do, but I feel like we're ready.
Hmm.
A new
Nice.
administration, a new beginning.
There we go. Nice. Thank you.
Rabbi Torah, this is Stephen Hurwitz in Pittsy. I want to say we're elated to see you. Absolutely elated. And Bonnie is from Jacksonville, Duval County, and I'm happy to say out of a narrow place. We went to Duval County and St. Johns County, Bonnie, last weekend, having, like Ann and many of you, gotten our second COVID shots, and we got to hug and embrace 4 generations of families, from my 90-year-old ever-loving dad to our 3.5-year-old great nephew, and his birth mother is pregnant with another one on the way. So talk about coming from a narrow place. That was just glorious. And it's really nice to see everybody tonight. And Nina, you enjoy Spring the Music. So thank you.
Mazel tov.
Fantastic. Well, this is truly what I would call Hoda'ot Mitzrayim, gratitudes that truly come out of the narrow places. And I thank you all for sharing and helping to lift all of our hearts to that place of gratitude that is so important for us all to keep in mind. So thank you for opening and being vulnerable and for sharing all that has been your experiences. We're going to move now to pass the blessing of faces here to our prayer for peace. Shalom.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki Ata Melech Adon Lecho Hashalom.
Wanted to just acknowledge some of the contributions from Facebook that have been shared, and they're in our chat. Thank you, Beth and Jamie on Facebook for your contributions, and thank you, Rebecca, for bringing them to our attention. So if you look into the chat, you'll see some of what our Facebook community is shared with us as well. And appreciate your expressions of gratitude there, in addition to what we had here. We are we're going to continue now with our Misha Berach for Refuah Shlema, for our healing prayer. And on the screen, you'll see the names of those in our own community, members of our TBE family, and loved ones, relatives and friends of our TBE community who struggle with illness. If you'd like to add anyone to our prayers for healing, I invite you to add those names to our chat so that we can include their names in our prayers for a refuah shlema, for a speedy recovery. As we will sing our Misha Berach, our healing prayer, in just a moment. If you're on Facebook and would like to share a name in the chat there for healing, we would invite you to do so that those who are in your hearts can also be included within our community's prayers. We know that we are the extension of God's healing presence by making calls, by sending a card, anything that we do to help reach out to caregivers and to those who are in need of care helps to make God's healing presence be felt. For those whose names are listed and who are mentioned aloud, for those who are mentioned within our hearts, and we include, of course, within our prayers for healing of those who suffer from illnesses that afflict the mind, for mental illness, for physical illness, all those who struggle with the coronavirus continue to fall victim to its devastation more and more each day. Still, we are in the midst of this pandemic. I'm going to turn to Bonnie Laurie, a member of our Board of Trustees, who will have some greetings and announcements for us. Bonnie, it is all yours.
Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. Tomorrow morning, join Rabbi, is it Lobel? Rabbi, is that correct? You're muted.
And the cantor there, Rabbi Lobel is correct, and the cantor from TBI and me.
Okay, from Temple B'nai Israel at 10:30 a.m. for our joint seventh-day Passover Yizkor on Zoom. Access information was provided in your Shabbat weekend connection. Tomorrow evening, our boomers, those aged 50 and up, will be meeting online to virtually break Passover with their Jewish trivia and cocktail social. I don't know about y'all, but we kind of dream about how we're going to bring Passover in our house. Registration has been closed for this event, but if you are interested and did not register, contact Dean Goatsman for information. Next Thursday, April 8th at 7 p.m., we will have a unique opportunity to get to know Ed and Helena Herman and their daughter Diane Mandel during our monthly fireside chat experience. This extraordinary event, this extraordinary online interview series helps our community get to know each other, and Ed and Helena's stories are ones that should not be missed. Register online at www.templebethel.com/fireside chats to receive access information. Registration is now open for our annual Mitzvah Day happening on Sunday, April 18th. We will begin at 10 a.m. on Zoom with an orientation and presentation of our Heart of Mitzvot Award. And then we'll have 4 projects available for you and your family to participate in on that day. For details on the virtual and in-person projects, check out www.templebethel.com/mitzvah day and register. As always, for the most up-to-date information and details on each event, check out your digital scroll in your email inbox or the events page on your website at www.templebethel.com.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate that. You could get a professional job doing that as a radio announcer, I think. We're going to move directly now into our mitzvah of memory as we remember those who have died in recent days and weeks, and those whose yahrzeits we honor on this Shabbat and in the week ahead. You may be aware that the onset of a festival ends the period of Shloshim. So for those who have experienced a death in the previous 30 days and might have been observing Shloshim, that period of intermediate mourning came to an end with the beginning of Pesach. So at this point in time, our recent deaths list is limited only to Bernard Katz. We express our condolences and offer condolences to Pamela Alston and to Michaela Alston on the death of Pamela's father, Michaela's grandfather, Bernard, this past week, and remind everyone that there will be a single Shiva service that will be taking place on Tuesday at 6 p.m. There was information that went out in our lives announcement. The funeral took place out of town yesterday. If you need more information, just contact Tova at the Temple office on Monday if you need that Zoom information to participate in the Shiva. On this Shabbat of Seventh Day Pesach, we remember these loved ones, yahrzeits that occur this Shabbat and the week ahead. We remember Isabel Abrams, Sophie Aronoff, Marilyn Brown, Charles Carton, Judy Chalnick, Sylvia Simon, Bertha Cohen, Herman Dubov, Jessica Edston, Teal Feist, Albert Fisher, Shirley Freeman, Francis Crone Fries, Bessie Getz, Adolph Gladstone, Clara Golobin, Rose Goodkin, Edith Greenberg, Jerome Gross, Merrill J. Gross, Sidney Herman, Eugene Heiger, Sidney Israel, Rose Krause, Adele L. Levinson, Adolph Levy, Beth Eileen Lunsford, Clara Matrach, Lenny Maurer, Roslyn London Mazer, Thelma Miller, Marianne Plotkin, Minna Reed, Lena Rosenthal, Sydney Rosenzweig, Benjamin Shapiro, Dorothy Shavlin, Herman Siskovic, Richard Slott, Joseph Sugarman, Sidney Sylvester, Elaine Tully Woodward, Sydney Wasserman, Barry Arlen Wax, and Samuel Weinstein. If there are any individuals whom you are saying Kaddish for, a period of mourning, of the year of mourning, or a yard site that was not on the list and you'd like to share that name, I would invite you to do so by putting that name in the chat at this time. Zichronam livracha, may the memories of the righteous be for an eternal blessing. Cherishing the memories of all whom we are thinking of in our hearts at this time. Let us recite these sacred words. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye echon v'yomechon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'miran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. And we're going to conclude with singing of Od Yavo Shalom. Joyce and Nina, thank you so much for beautiful, beautiful music and harmonies tonight, as always. You guys always lift our spirits and lift our hearts. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Peace will yet come.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'hakulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'hakulam. Salam Aleinu ve'akol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'akol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'hakulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'hakulam. Shabbat Shalom, folks. We
Shalom.
love you and miss you
Shabbat
all.
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Allow everyone to unmute themselves.